Oh, the position's totally up here.
No, it's fine. I'm just trying to make sure.
In the chorus.
I've got that one as well. Thank you.
I don't like the first basic. I feel like it should just be vocal.
Do I sound like too loud or? I think, yeah, I can hear myself.
So two verses chorus.
I'm going to group it because strand 6 elation.
If I turn this way, I might move because then I won't originally when I come in the door. Hello, okay. Or if you go to youtube.stmichaels.org.nz, I'm pretty sure. youtube.stmichaels.org.nz should be working. .org.nz, I think. It's alright. No, not at all. Not at all.
But Nico, I'm not sure what you. So that's the key thing though, looking at the voltage and current. Yeah? That's the thing?
Is that all good? I don't know. I haven't done anything. I'm actually the freeze button on my stuff. Have a quick look, see what you think.
Yeah. Coming.
I just switched our sides to good. Oh, actually.
morning, everyone. Welcome to St. Michael's. We don't, I'm told not to put a listen. That might blow up on us.
I want that.
What is it?
Good morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Right, we've got one thumbs up from down the back, so I'll take that. Okay. Okay, well, welcome along to St Michael's this morning. Today is an all-ages worship service. I think this is our first all-ages in the hall. So
That's why we're starting late, because there's much chaos.
that's right, that's exactly right. Nothing to do with your worship. So, yes, welcome along everyone. Shall we kick off with some notices?
Yeah, just two notices from me. The first one is that there is an AGM next Sunday. Historically, in my time as the incumbent at St Michael's, I have found attendance at the AGM to be very poor. And I would appreciate a greater turnout for the AGM. Yeah, nominations closed today for vestry and for synod. The nomination forms, I think, are in the office downstairs still. But if you need one, come and see me. There are also some copies of the AGM reports folded and stapled there, or you should have received them by email if you are on the email list, if you don't want to take a paper copy. But there's plenty for people there now. The other thing too was that we did email the parish this week about sort of the sense of being in this space versus in the church space under some changed conditions. And if you haven't had a chance to fill that survey, I would really appreciate it, the Wardens and I, if you could fill that in. Just perhaps to say a little bit by way of background, the possibility of moving back to the hall, my hunch is the 9 o'clockers want to do it and the 10:30 don't. That's just my superficial impression based on early survey, yeah. But the engineers in writing are only prepared to say it's a real risk, because that's what they have to say. When you talk to them in person, they will say practical experience is that it's only the bricks we're worried about, it's not the wood. So we can't put that in writing, we can't say that in a definitive mathematical kind of way, but that's the experience. So if we were to reorganise the name of the church for one service or both services to move back in, it would be operating on that understanding. And I guess that's partly what the survey is asking, knowing that these things are not an exact science, there is an art even to engineering. How would you feel? Do you feel it's important that we continue here or that we go back to the church? Does that make sense, Matthew? Yep, thank you. Anything to add, Emily? That's good? Cool, excellent. So please do fill in that survey if you can, that will really help vestry and guide our decision making. If you need it, Ross, I'll send it to you. Excellent. All right, any other notices?
I've got a quick notice.
Thank you.
We have some new equipment and we're in a different space. So if it's a bit loud, I'm totally open to to me. Or even just saying, I can't hear you from your back or whatever. So open to that feedback. We'd like you to be able to hear and not be deafened.
It was hard to hear Lisa. It was easy to hear Tim, but not easy to hear Lisa back here.
Hello. Oh, is that improved?
That's as loud as it can be. I'm afraid.
There we go. I can always just speak loudly, maybe that's good.
Actually, just before we get on to signs of the kingdom, Lisa, why don't we just get people to turn to their neighbours at their tables and just pause for 20 seconds and think, gosh, have I seen something this week that's made me really grateful to God, given me cause for joy, or perhaps seen like a sign of God's kingdom coming, God's justice coming, God's welcome coming. So let's pause for 10 seconds, then turn to our neighbours and share if there's anything comes to the top of our heads, and then Lisa will gather any thoughts that we have. So, let's pause. And then let's share with the neighbour what you see.
sign of the kingdom that they would like to share with the group? Did anyone have a sign of the kingdom to share amongst us?
Thanks, Mel. Sophia.
It's your birthday, and how old did you turn? Happy birthday.
What's your one, Esther? You've got a cat. Sirius Green?
Sirius Black too.
Altria.
Three of the cats. Yeah.
Anyone else got a celebration or a sign of the kingdom to share with us? Ross.
Yeah, our group, someone had seen a fantail in Cooper Street this time too. And,
A fantail in Cuba Street for the first time ever.
and also people from our local tribe leading, Wānanga about change and justice.
Cool. People having conversations about changing justice from the one name. Fantastic. Rosie.
I just went to the Phil and Iris Skeletons House for dumpling making. It was great. Lots of international students who have arrived and made dumplings and eggs. It was great.
Made welcome. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, big up you to Phil and Iris for their wonderful gift of hospitality. Thank you. Christian. You finished your
Form in Kung Fu.
Oh, wow. So you're a black belt now? Not quite. Nice one. Well done, Christian. That's wonderful. Excellent. Now, Lisa had one more notice, I think.
I do.
Do you want to share?
I just wanted to do a plug again for our community fund. So we set the fund up, as you guys know, to help out with the economic recovery for COVID in our local area. So anyone who's been kind of hit hard, like who's lost a job maybe, or has been hit hard economically by as a fallout of COVID, come let us know, and we can maybe help them out by just blessing them with a supermarket voucher or something along those lines. And thank you again to everyone who contributed to the fund. It's really wonderful to be able to bless our community like that. Any questions, come and see me or Tim or Troy or Pete. Cool.
One more celebration, if I
Yes.
may. We started kids sport thing in.
Oh, yay.
So it was really good. I'm coaching a kids rugby team, and so if you want to pray for my kids rugby team, I wanted to those people in great men. So I'd love your help and support in that.
So remember the sign of God's kingdom as well. We've been really thin on the ground in terms of musicians here at St. Mark's for quite a while, and just in the last couple of weeks we've had about 4 people say, oh yeah, we'll sing, we'll play. So that's amazing. Praise the Lord.
Awesome.
So, let's just pray as we try and come consciously into God's presence. Loving God, we're just grateful for the ways you are at work around us. We often rush around and don't notice, don't stop to give you thanks for just your providence and your sustaining of the world. And when we do, we are full of joy. Thank you for all the things that we named, the celebrations, the signs of the kingdom. Make us good actors in that we pray. Fill us with your spirit. Lift our hearts to worship you this morning. We're thinking this morning about sparrows. Sparrows get quite a lot of coverage in the Bible, but they're not the only birds that get coverage in the Bible. It was nice to hear about the fantail in Cuba Street because it's actually right bang on point, actually. Who can think of birds in the Bible? Any idea what this is? This is a representation of Elliot. This creation of sea creatures and birds, which, in the way it's described in Genesis, happens on the same day. Day 5 of creation, the birds, they're there just about right from the beginning. I couldn't even see them earlier, maybe, with the role of the spirit hovering over the waters. Maybe that's a bird image, not sure. What about this? Anyone know what that is? Yes, I heard that. It's a raven, and that's Noah. there's some really cool art about Noah and the raven, actually, when you Google it. There he goes, Noah and the raven. And here's another one, actually, from the Middle Ages. There's Noah, the raven, and the dove. So the raven and the dove that he sends out to see if they can find dry land. Moving forward a bit more in the biblical story, there's some pretty cool stuff where God describes himself in terms of an eagle. Anyone know what's going on there? That's true, that's a bit later on actually. It's actually in the Exodus, in a kind of reflection on the Exodus stories, God talks about having carried Israel on eagle's wings. And there's an eagle carrying a raven. Don't tell me, I don't know how it happens, it just happens apparently. What's this? It's quail. Where do we find quail in the biblical story? Yes, in the story of the Exodus from Egypt, God feeds the people, sign of God's faithfulness, with manna and quail. Quail in the desert, good one. Oh, that didn't have an animation. Gave it away. Elijah is fed by ravens in his hiding during the famine in Kings. And this is the one I was thinking of, Mary, that you were thinking of too. When the prophet Isaiah had that amazing passage where God says, those that wait upon the Lord will renew their strength, they will rise up on wings like eagles. Amazing birds. And then when the Holy Spirit comes to Jesus, described as coming in the form of a dove. Is that a pigeon? Is it? Oh, I think it's a dove. I googled quite hard on that. Because I was thinking about it, because so many of the images of doves that we have in our minds are so kind of, but actually there's a sort of to the dove. So I'll claim that as a dove, even if it's a pigeon or a seagull. I don't know. The Holy Spirit is described as descending on Jesus, looking something like a dove, like a seagull, maybe. And then there's the sparrows that we hear about today. You know, they're the humblest of the little birds, and yet they become a really important part of Jesus' teaching because he says that God cares for them, and therefore how much more can we trust that God cares for us? Are not two sparrows sold for a penny, and yet your heavenly Father cares for them? And then right at the end, the eagle is back with 4 living creatures of Revelation, one of which is an eagle. So, don't be afraid, folks. God cares for birds. God cares for you. That's our theme for this morning. Lisa's going to lead us in worship. Let's stand.
Let us worship God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Amen.
The Lord be with you. This is the day that the Lord has made.
Amen.
Let us focus on God.
Lord, direct our thoughts and teach us to pray. Lift up our hearts to worship you in spirit and in truth. We pray through Jesus Christ. Amen.
And now we're going to have a song, Let the Little Children Come, which will be a throwback for some of you.
You may not be familiar with this one yet.
It's a hate one.
It's a happy one.
It's not a throwback.
It should be in quotation marks because these are the words of Jesus. Well, that's what I was thinking when I wrote it. So, let the little children come to me. Let the little children come to me. The kingdom belongs to us like these. So say Jesus' side with faith just like a child. Let the little children come to me. We belong to Jesus, wait and see. children come to me. The kingdom it belongs to ones like these. So say Jesus sign with faith just like a child. Let the little children come to me. Call out His name, little children. Sing out His praise, little children. Don't be afraid, don't be dismayed. He will never leave us, He is with us.
Let's take a seat. Lisa's going to read us a story now. And I reckon that she particularly, she feels a bit lonely up here. It's quite lonely up here sometimes. So if anyone is feeling like they need a story, I encourage you to come and sit on the mat. We have a mat. Seeing Jamie, might like to come and sit on the mat with me.
Yeah, that's a nice space.
I see Felix, he looks like he could be in the mat mood. I see Sophia, good stuff. Thanks, Grace.
Great, can I sit down there like a teacher? No, I need to. Gosh. Just like this. Okay, hold it. Thanks, Jen. All right, this story is called The Very Worried Sparrow. Can we guess what it's about?
All of us.
Let's find out. There once was a very worried sparrow. All the other baby birds looked up at the bright blue sky and sang, cheep, 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 cheep. Cheeping is welcome from the audience. But the very worried sparrow had a different type of cheep. Instead of saying cheep, cheep, the very worried sparrow said, meep, meep, meep. Can we all try that? Meep, meep, meep. It's a big word. The first thing he worried about was food. Oh dear, he thought. I'm so hungry. Whatever am I going to eat? Meep, meep. Suddenly, there was Mother with a fat, juicy caterpillar for each baby bird. Look at that. Oh, and it's up there. Well done, Tim. One day, Father gathered the little sparrows around him. I think it is time you learn to fly, he said. Open your wings and flap. Whee! This is lovely, called the sparrows. Can you see them flying off there? Oh, no, they're down there. And then, what does the little worried sparrow say? Said the very worried sparrow. I don't dare. He was so scared he lost his balance, toppled off the branch, flipped and flopped, and flew. Just like that. When the sun went down, Father Sparrow gathered his family together, warm and snug in the nest. He told them wonderful stories of long ago and far away, of the great Father who made the world and everything in it, of how the day begins and where the wind comes from and all the little things that every creature knows. The young birds listened with bright eyes, but the very worried sparrow peered out into the darkness. He said, oh dear. When summer came, the very worried sparrow felt just a little braver. He set off with his brothers and sisters to look for seeds in the field. Swoosh! The terrible sparrowhawk came diving down. The very worried sparrow closed his eyes tight and waited, too scared to move. But when he opened them, he saw the sparrowhawk flying away. Said the very worried sparrow, I'm going home. And he flew to his nest as fast as he could. Then the autumn winds blew and the trees shed their leaves. Then the snow fell, covering the ground in a soft layer of sparkling white. The sparrows thought it was wonderful. The very worried sparrow peered around him. The snow has covered up all the food, he said. And where will we find water to drink? But each morning, children scattered seeds on the path and broke the ice that glazed the pond. The The sparrows had plenty to eat and drink all through the winter. Spring came and the sparrows twittered with excitement. It's nesting time, they said. They swooped and sang with all the other sparrows. Some pairs of birds were darting away looking for safe places to build their nests. Said the very worried sparrow, his head drooping. I'm all alone. The branch bounced as a little sparrow fluttered closer. Cheek, she said boldly. Meep, meep, said the very worried sparrow. Will you be my friend? Oh yes, she said happily. I know a good place for a nest, she said. Come and see. Together they flew to a lovely apple tree. Meet me, said the little worried sparrow. It's lovely, but I expect the other birds have found it already. It's a safe place just for us, chirruped his mate. Come on. Before long, the shy sparrow was sitting in the nest. Under her warm feathers were 4 speckled eggs. Meep, meep, said the very worried sparrow. Do not have a family to worry about. Far below, in the grass, a cat was prowling. High above, a sparrowhawk drifted on the wind. The very worried sparrow was looking very, very worried. Coo, what's the matter? Asked a gentle voice. It was a turtle dove with soft white feathers. I'm so worried, wept the sparrow. Coo, coo, said the dove. Don't you know the stories of the great Father who made us all and who cares about every sparrow? Meep, meep, said the very worried sparrow. I was so worried I didn't listen. So as the sun went down, the dove gathered all the birds around her and told the stories of long ago and far away, of the great Father who made the world and everything in it, of how the day begins and where the wind comes from, and all the little things that every creature knows. She spoke of the seasons and the years, of how things grow and new life comes. She told how the great Father knows each creature and its time on the earth. The next day, the whole world sparkled in the morning light. Tock, tock, tock. A tiny sound came from each of the eggs, and soon 4 new baby sparrows hatched in the cosy nest. Then the very worried sparrow smiled. I can't wait to see them, he said. We can watch them grow and teach them to fly. And I will tell them about the great Father who made the world and everything in it, and who knows each sparrow. They won't have to worry for a single day. Then the very worried sparrow flew up into the blue sky. Cheep, cheep, he sang. Cheep, 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 cheep. Loud enough to burst with happiness.
You can stay if you like, guys, or you can go, up to you, really. That's the first time I've ever heard that story, there you go. But it sort of speaks to me a bit about, it's pretty obvious, but it's how easy it is for us to give in to fear. And as we come to a time of confession, maybe that's the thing that we need to hold before God. Our fears, our worries, letting those things get the better of us. This is going to lead us in the time of confession.
So let's just take a moment and to still ourselves and come before God. God who loves us, this is your world and we are your people. You care for all your creatures, sparrows and people. We know it is your world, but we fail to care for it as you ask. God, forgive us, renew us and help us. Lord Jesus, this week we have seen people who need our love, and we have failed to love them. Jesus, forgive us, renew us and help us. Holy Spirit, we're given to fear and forget to trust your love is with us.
Holy Spirit, forgive us, renew us, and help us.
Good news, the gospel is that God loves us so much that he gave his only son, that whoever might believe in him will have eternal life, will be filled with his spirit, and have no reason for fear. Amen. We weren't going to sing this song, because it was a bit naff, we thought. So we wrote a new verse, me and Phil found some real new verse for the song, and then we gave it to Hayden and said, can we sing this song, No Butterflies? And he said, yeah, but it was so short. So we're going to sing one verse, which is, kids, you probably haven't heard this song. This is a song that we used to sing when I was at Sunday school, so it's about 100 years old. And it's kind of catchy, and it's all about how grateful we are to God for making us us. But we've tinkered a bit with the second verse just to kind of indigenize it a bit, so don't be surprised if there are some surprises in there. There's probably actions. Are there actions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Annalise, you know the actions? No. Just make them up, come on. Cat knows the actions. Follow Cat. Okay, that's what stand. Do the actions.
For you gave me a heart and you gave me a smile. You gave me Jesus and you gave me a child. But I just thank you, Father, for making me me.
Nice one. All right, have a seat, and David's going to read us our scripture reading.
So this is the Holy Gospel according to Matthew 10, verses 26 to 31. Praise and glory to God. So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim from the roofs. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both the soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. This is the gospel of Christ.
Praise Christ the Lord.
Tweet, 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 squawk, tweet, 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 squawk, tweet, tweet. Ah, Philomena.
Timothy!
What's up? Haven't seen you for ages.
It's kind of a bright light. I'm going to move my chair.
Oh, my nose is falling off. Oh no!
There's drama. promise. Sorry, okay, we're a little close. Okay. Tweet, tweet. Yeah, Timothy. Shiver me feathers, the weather's cold.
Ooh, isn't it just?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Thank you. Ah, yes.
Yes, Timothy, I've been meaning to ask Tim. Tim, do you fuck a papa tui?
Do I fuck a papa tui?
Yeah, you know,
No.
the distinctive white tuft under the neck.
No. 100%. 100%.
It was a good one. Sorry.
I'm 100% sparrow, me.
Oh, yes.
Yep,
yes,
no
yes,
tui in
yes,
this avian species.
Oh,
No.
okay, yep.
Look, I haven't seen you since lockdown.
Lockdown.
How was lockdown for you?
Yes, lockdown. I remember it very fondly. Lockdown. No cars.
Ah, no cars.
Clean air.
Clean air, that's right.
Very few people walking along.
Very few people, yes.
Oh, thank you. Kia ora. Yep.
No, so few people.
So few people.
So few cars. Such clean air.
Lovely weather.
Lovely weather.
Zealandia was free of cruise ship tourists.
Yeah.
Yes, no, and
the birds.
And a lot of avian comrades, wasn't
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Yes. The dawn chorus was like the old days. It brought a tear to my eye.
It was like the old days. I wonder if we could have a little rendition of the dawn chorus from you all, please. Of your own select birds. Reasonable. Ah, there we go. Kaka! I hear that kaka! Oh, yes, that's better, yeah. Yes, and of course, there were plenty of opportunities for a little bit of people watching.
Yeah.
Yes. A little bit of reverse ornithology.
Yes.
Yeah, that was quite fun. You could see them next to their teddy bears through the windows. Yes, no, I enjoyed doing some people watching.
And they'd be going out for these anxious little walks. Did you notice?
Ah, the anxious walk.
All the way down Upland Road, you could see these different species. I gave them a name.
Oh, yes?
Humanitas nervosa.
Ah,
The anxious human.
the nervous one.
You can still see them. You see the harried business person.
Uh-huh.
The executive mother.
Uh-huh.
You see the hormone-stuffed Wellington College boy.
Woof.
You see the skint student scuttling down Upland Road.
The skint student. And not to forget the harried lecturer with a furrowed brow and a pile of emails unanswered on their laptops and their huge stores of marking. I hear that, Jonathan. Huge piles of marking hanging around and all those revise and resubmits that they have to do. Not that I would know. I'm a merely humble sparrow.
Too right. Did you notice a change in humanity over lockdown?
Oh, an evolution, perhaps.
Yeah, I wonder.
It's a very acute ecological observation, Timothy. Well, it's funny you should mention that, because actually over time, some of the Humanitas nervosa did begin to change. I called them Humanitas opened up quite a bitus.
Humanitas opened up quite a bitus?
Yes, they opened up a little bit like a flower. They opened up quite a bit to the sun.
Yes, you're right. They stopped rushing around. They stood still and enjoyed the sunshine. They let themselves be and not do.
Excuse me for a moment, I spot a worm.
Sorry. Yes.
Sorry, yes.
Yes, they just sort of watched. They let the world go by and watched a bit more.
They did, didn't they? Didn't they? Yes, no, they took their time much more, which was nice. A little bit like, maybe birds on a wire.
Birds on a wire, yes. Do you think they know God, these humans? Do you think they pray?
That's a very interesting question. You know, I don't think so. They look far too nervous and harried. Certainly those Humanitas nervosa kind.
But that's terrible. How could they not pray? How do they not know that every feather on their wings is numbered? Do they not know that they cannot fall, but they fall into the great sparrow's care? Do they not know that when it rains, the generous rain falls on the nervosa and the opened upper bitters? I can't believe they wouldn't pray.
Yes.
How could they not?
Yes, well, yes, no, And yet, perhaps, towards the end, some of them were beginning to slow down a little, weren't they? They were really beginning to notice be more than do. They were beginning to really, perhaps, learn to pray.
I do hope so. I do hope so, for their sake. You know, us sparrows, we're not worth much. What did they get for your cousin Benny? Half a penny. Half a penny, I think it was. And yet, to know the great sparrows care, that's just priceless. Purely priceless. I mean, how much more must it be the case for a son of Adam or a daughter of Eve? I'm just a humble sparrow, but for them to know the great sparrow's care would make them so much more valuable. Forgive the sermon.
It's okay, I
couldn't help myself.
That's okay, I'm used to it.
Well?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Sorry. I can't remember what's...
I think I'll go shout that from the rooftop.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes, you should go tweet that from the treetops.
From the treetops, yes, I think I will.
Yes.
And you know, you're right about one thing.
Yeah, oh, what's that?
I'm beginning to miss lockdown. Bring back the praying human.
Tweet, tweet.
Yep. Very good.
Well, that's pretty obvious, eh? I actually wrote that before. I mean, either of us had read the little book, but it was kind of like the same message as the book, wasn't it? We've got 4 people now going to come up and just share us some thoughts about what makes them worried and nervous, and where it is that maybe they find room to trust God and to follow what Jesus said in what David read to us. So do you 4 want to come on up and get all stand in a line? Hopefully we've got the microphone and pass it along. And we've just got kind of a minute or two's thoughts from each one of them about what they worry about. You might find some of your worries in what they say, and also perhaps some of their invitation to trust. Thanks, Troy. Thanks, Sheila. Thanks, Bruce.
Now, I'm the original worried sparrow. So Tim said, what am I afraid of as I face the future? And I crystallised it into 3 particular things. I retired at the end of last year, and so what can make me very fearful is, how am I going to manage now that I'm not working anymore? And the casual work that I was going to do in this year hasn't happened because of COVID. How am I going to manage? And then, because I'm getting just a little bit older, I say to myself, will my health and fitness hold out? Will my aches and pains all get too much? Will I get dementia? That's always a worry. That's always a worry as you get older. And then, because now I've got grandchildren, will I grow up? Will I get old enough to see my grandchildren grow up, and so that I can see what they do with their lives? Will they have brilliant academic careers? Will Emmy be on the stage? Will Quinny be a nurse? Who knows? Who knows? I want to know. I want to see. I want to be old enough to see all this. So, with all these fears milling round, how do the words, "Don't be afraid, you are worth more than many sparrows," help me face this? Well, actually, a few years ago, our own Matthew Bartlett gave the most marvellous sermon when he said that the words "fear not" are the most frequently used words in the New Testament and the Gospels. Fear not, little flock. Do not be afraid. And so I have been clinging to those words as a worrier ever since then, because I know that as I look back on my getting a bit longer sort of life, that God has always been there to get me through the difficult and the good times.
That's very touching, Sheila.
Your sermon was brilliant.
Thank you. The irony of this is I don't like public speaking. So when Tim suggested I might have some fears, my immediate maleness said, no, they're in a silo over there. But of course there are. The two little stories, practical I hope. Earlier this year I had to have an MRI. I don't know if you've been in one of these machines. They're kind of really small, shaped like that, and you kind of get wheeled in and it completely surrounds you. And then they turn it up and it rattles and shakes. And occasionally I've been known to suffer from a fear of confined spaces, and that happened. And my mouth started to dry up. And so what I did, and it felt like an inundation of fear, like completely overflowing. This is irrational, what are you doing? Fortunately, and I've got a terrible memory for remembering things, but I do have some poetry from Psalms, from Proverbs, that I can just recall. So I just closed my eyes and started reciting the faithfulness of God through the Word. That was calming. It wasn't perfect, but it was calming. And the second piece, which is much more like these tides that flood over you and then go away again. And it's more to do with how I feel about people who don't know Jesus, and particularly for me, having a large family, how my children are responding to God or not. And what I've found is all I can do is focus on how I behave through Jesus. There's no right word I can ever quite get right, I think. And I often pray, what should I say? Have I said the right thing? And I worry about it. But actually, I've come to view that God is love. And all I can do is focus on Him and display what He's like.
Well, in contrast to Troy, Tim emailed me and said, will you talk about your fairs on Sunday? And I thought about it for a while and then emailed Tim back frankly and said, I think my fairs are too dramatic. Tim said, tone it down a bit. So I did. But Tim suggested that I talk about bringing a baby into the world of fear and trust, this one. So I did. And kind of, it did, having a baby just kind of amplified all my fears about everything else in the world. It's like having a hostage to court to another one. And it's kind of everything. So there was an earthquake, the kind of 5-point-something earthquake when she was 8 days old. That was terrifying. And all of a sudden I thought, oh no, I have to worry for a whole nother person. So you can imagine it, just do that for everything. But I can't say I've ever meditated much on the verse about the Spirit, but eventually, you can't control earthquakes and you can't control COVID and many other things in life. And really, when I can't control things, that's the time when I go, oh yes, I'm meant to rely on God for this kind of thing and not worry because He cares for us. So my favourite passage to turn to for that is, what's there? I lift my eyes to the hills. Psalm 121. Yeah, so I like that one. That reminds me to rely on God and remember that although He doesn't promise any particular outcome for us, He cares for us in those kind of falls, but He knows about it. So that second part is comforting as well. Cool.
Thanks, Chris. Now, what worries you, dear boy? Do you remember? What are the things you were talking about with Mummy yesterday? About that worried you or troubled you? I think you talked about the coronavirus. What was that about?
Afraid that we'll go into lockdown again because of the 5 new cases.
3 new cases. Is there anything else? That's all right. That might be all from us. To worry about coronavirus returning.
Thanks, Christian. Thanks to everyone that you shared. I think probably you touched nerves in each of us in different ways. Eh? We're going to move into a prayer exercise in a second, where we're going to, on our tables, we're going to get distributed a piece of paper to draw a bird. There's a bird on the back on a wire up there, a sparrow on the wire on the mirror. And if one person at your table, give or take, could draw a bird, and everyone else can just cut out a feather. There's a template in your tubs for feathers, and write a prayer on them of acknowledging your fears and putting your trust in God instead. And I think hopefully the examples of the people who share will just help us to not be too glib about this, say, you know, no one's going to read them. So you can be honest and use this as a chance to really say to God, look, I do fear these things, and yet I choose to put my trust in you. But just as those are going around, we're going to stand and sing E Te Ariki. God listens to the cries of his children. Awesome song, eh? Have a seat. One person can draw a bird and then cut on the wire on the mirrors, and everyone else follow the template, make a feather, and use that as your way of putting your trust in God. And I'll give you sort of 5 to 10 minutes. An example of a feather on the front of your ice cream container. Sort of, you can cut the bits that makes it look like a feather. It's amazing. And then write the feather.
I'm not very Are we okay?
Don't forget to follow the templates of your feather and write your prayer trust. Remember that Pakatoki, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but we've kind of appropriated as prayer puts feathers on the bird. So let's make this a prayer activity, not just a beautiful artistic. Glue sticks are pulling on, get out onto the glue. Right, folks, just give you a minute more. And then Rebecca's going to come and gather our priests together. We're going to sing the Lord's Prayer, and then it'll be us. You're allowed to move the wheelchair so that you're just sitting on the Awesome. All right, if you need to finish that early morning tea, that's all good. Thank you, Rebecca.
So let's just gather out all our prayers and worries and bring them to God. Father, we just thank you that we could come together today as your family, as your children. We do bring to you our worries and our cares, and we leave them at your feet. Lord, we ask that you would fill us instead with your peace, a peace that passes understanding, that you'd lift the weight and care from us, that you would be teaching us to trust and rely on you. And God, that in the words of Hildegard of Bingen, that we would be feathers in your breath, Lord. We would be feathers in your breath, moving with your spirit together. In Jesus' name.
join us for tea and coffee after this. Go now to love and serve the Lord. Go in peace.
Amen.
We go in the name of Christ. Gloria be to our
It's a bit of a mess by the morning tea area, so people are control. Cool. Yep. I think there's the prayer ministry this morning. Yes, thank you, Caitlin. You and Michelle. So if you'd like prayer for yourself or someone else, please just come and find Caitlin and Michelle in the little front room, and they'd love to pray with you.